Greetings in the love and in the light of the one infinite creator. I'm Andrii Zvorygin, and I'm here with Ed, Robert, Adam, Fred, and Bill. And we will be reading the final question from the September 29, 2024 quote channeling session and discussing it. And then we'll have a potluck of what people want to do. All right, so thank you, Kuo. The next query is, how can I convey and share spirituality and the conscious, loving way of life in a preferable and suitable manner, especially in regards to not infringing free will of the other self?
We are Quo, and we have received and appreciate this query, my sister. We commend the sensitivity, first and foremost, of the twin impulses of the desire to share in order to benefit, uplift, heal, empower, and support the other self, with the sensitivity not to impose that service, not to reach out before the reaching out is needed or requested, not to do harm in the seemingly good intention of the offering of service. We would counsel to any who consider this question that the most important step in this careful balance is the considering of the question. Many convinced in the rightness of their service for the other self or other selves go forth without taking a moment even to consider impact of service, to consider whether it was even requested. Instead, they know they have found the right way, and the other self would do well to hear this way and to incorporate and to follow accordingly. This dynamic, manifested in your religious distortion complexes, has precipitated great suffering upon your planet as Group B has sought to impose their service upon Group A, even at the end of the sword point, and has sought also at times even to seek to eradicate the understandings and beingness and ways of seeing the world of Group A, shall we say. Those of this inclination have not asked themselves this question. Or if they have overridden the question in the righteousness of the service which they wish to offer, and danced instead with the energies of conquest. And on a smaller scale, this may be exhibited even in the intimate relationship of one to the or rather is sure that they have the answer for the other. This instrument is aware of such dynamics, even within its own marital container, and the richness of opportunity that offers for the learning of the boundaries and the dynamics and movement of two free wills. We would encourage the self seeking this balance to ask questions pertaining to what it is that the self is asking for and needs. That need, of course, is not always articulated in an outwardly verbal way. That need may be expressed in a variety of ways. The loved one may retreat in pain, withdrawn from a situation. And through that act may, not always, but may be emitting a request, a call for help. And the one who has sensitized themselves to the need of this loved one may then go forth to ask, to see, are you okay? What may I do to help you? What is it that you need? In such a situation, it may be unwise to sit and wait for the self who has withdrawn to request the service. At other times, perhaps the self who, in this specific case, has withdrawn, does indeed wish not to be approached. With a great variety of complexity and a spectrum of experience in this one case study, shall we say, alone. This is why there is no one-size-fits-all answer. It is a need for sensitivity, and one can, as this instrument knows the one known as Austin has made conscious, exercise in a disciplined way. Imagine the self being within the shoes of the other self, inhabiting their other selves' circumstances. Imagining seeing the world through their eyes. What is it that they see, they feel? Are they afraid? Are they hurt? Do they believe themselves to be limited? Are they acting out in anger, motivated by what you know of their own past? Or what you may not know of their own past, as is the truth in most cases within your interpersonal dynamics? How can you re-see them, those you wish to serve, with compassion and not with judgment or anger? Understanding that were you in their shoes, experiencing the totality of their experience, your reality would be as is theirs. Through such exercises, one can get outside of one's certainties and thought complexes in order to attempt to inhabit the others. And then ask the self, what is it that this other self may be requesting or need? And act accordingly, always with sensitivity. While it is, of course, impossible to truly walk in the shoes of the other self within your density, these exercises can open previously unencountered channels within the heart by engaging them in a sincere and intentional way. And in so doing, it is possible to move outside the realm of imagination, important as this faculty is to the engendering of this empathy, and truly begin to feel into the energy set of the other's self. And you ask how you may share your spirituality. We would remind all that one's spirituality is shared least in the articulated philosophy. Whether your spirituality sees that the sun is the local architect of your system, as the law of one would have it, or that the moon is made of your cheese, as you might have it, your spirituality is shared through your beingness. The, as you would see it, simple person, purified of the many complexities that your peoples love, simple in their dedication to love, to treating the stranger with kindness, to welcoming them into the heart, to responding to anger with love, and so forth. This person's spiritual field and spirituality may shine and radiate more brightly and strongly, and have greater impact upon those they encounter than the self who may, with great precision, wax philosophically of the nature of things and the values of your life. This is not in any way to denigrate or minimize the service of philosophy or belief, or that which the intellect can give voice to. For as you, our friends, know through your own experience of encountering belief systems and spiritual systems, which promote the free will and sovereignty of the self and all beings, which point to the oneness of creation and the centrality of love and light within that oneness, that such systems can release the self from inner prisons, can point the way for healing within the self, can help the self to dispel those former beliefs which had limited the self into a conception, an illusory conception of a small being cut off from its own worth and power, barricaded from the love within, which it is unconditionally held in the eyes and the heart of the Creator. Communicating one's belief can also be important, but it is a manifestation of the beingness of the self. The self may speak many beautiful words of the oneness of the creation, but hold in its heart an incongruity with those words, which it does not examine, or which may even feed resentment and bitterness, judgment or condescension toward others. And while intellect to intellect, shall we say, may receive the transmission of the communicated beliefs on a more fundamental level, the self is communicating that resentment or bitterness or consciousness of separation. But where those two may align, that being the beingness and the blue ray communication of the self's beingness and its thoughts and service to others, the self may indeed be of potent service. We would again simply remind those considering this question that the work done upon the self to forgive the self and all of its wrongdoings from your perspective and missteps of the past, to extend that forgiveness to others, to heal those stories and things that keep the heart blocked and the self imbalanced, is to do the work upon the world itself too. And thus it is to share one's spirituality. And the fruit of this service, of sharing of spirituality, then happens effortlessly. This service is not one that requires an outward doing, but instead emanates, as does light from your sun, from your beingness. Before you lift a finger or open the door or indeed breathe, it is your existence itself that is the service. And for those among you who wish to offer those liberating thoughts, or rather those thoughts in response to which you have experienced liberation, there is always the prospect of the dropping of the seeds, the communicating of that which the other self would do well to listen to, that which has aided the self in small doses, shall we say. And if there is fertile ground where that seed has been dropped, then that seed will grow. And the other self, who was the recipient of the service, may in that moment or in a moment years to come, allow that seed to grow and follow through and express curiosity and interest, and thus open the door for the sharing of that which excites the self to share. We would conclude by reminding that each self is unique and complex and unknown, even mostly to that self. And each other self is also in the same predicament of being unique and being unknown to themselves mostly, and acting in ways that they do not even understand why they are pushed hither and yon by their own emotions, their own thoughts, their own needs and desires. And each relationship thus is doubly unique and doubly confusing. So it takes great sensitivity and care to determine and discern how to navigate these very complex dynamics. And the intention to be sensitive is a great place to start. We thank the questioners for the opportunity that these questions offered us to share our humble thoughts with you for your consideration. We hope only that they are a springboard into your own contemplation and disciplined work in consciousness in your seeking of the one creator. At this time, we would transfer our contact to the one known as Austin. We are those known to you as Quo.
Thank you, Robert. Great reading.
And it only goes on for like 5 more paragraphs. So.
Well, we're going to review what we read so far.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any remarks, reflections? Bill, you're muted. You've got to unmute to speak. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, did I raise my hand?
Oh, I thought you were trying to say something.
Oh no, I was just kind of laughing.
Okay, maybe Edward. Were you trying to raise your hand? Okay, go ahead, Ed.
Okay, so I was going to say that actually covers so many different little facets of the question. You know, because it goes from like the way that people misuse it. It went through kind of the way that you kind of need kind of permission, you need whatever. But then it also went into kind of like, you know, how your words aren't anything on your actions, and it also kind of went into kind of like the what's it called, the like how I don't know how you come into it from the right I don't know, intention is really super important. You know, so I think that all of those bits are kind of stuff that I actually come in contact with all the time. I don't know about you guys, but a bit at the beginning where I was saying about how, like, you know, you can use this knowledge to kind of just be a dick to people. You know, like you guys remember my friend John? I don't know if a few of you might remember him. He came up to a session.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a great one for that. Like, you know, he'll, I don't know, kind of corner a conversation, kind of force things on people, like that they don't really want to hear, and it ends up being kind of therapy for him, getting stuff out. Whereas I don't think that they ever really take in what he's saying. And, you know, he has lots of judgment in it, and he has lots of kind of like, ah ha ha, you don't know, kind of stuff, you know. Whereas now I feel like I am a philosopher, so it's kind of a bit of a kick in the balls, but you know, but the difference between the way that kind of we share the law of one philosophy is that I always come to it from a point of view of like the person. Yeah, it's always kind of like almost like a psychological kind of empathic way of approaching a situation in their life that they're going through, and then relating it back to, you know, how the law of one can kind of explain these things. But then, like, you know, sorry, Andrii, I don't know if you want to jump in or something, or.
Well, I just wanted to kind of open it up and let.
Okay. One little bit I was going to add on the end of that.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, we'll move on to whatever, like, you know. But what was it? The people being ready for it, kind of thing. You know, like I said, like I always try to get it to something from in their life, so to then bring context to why I'd be sharing it. But I've also found that, like Quo said, putting those little seeds in people's minds can literally completely change their life. Like literally 6 months later, they'll come back. There's also bits that people really don't like hearing, like, you know, you plan your life, all this bad stuff that's happened to you is your fault. People hate that, but you know, it's the best thing for them to hear sometimes. Anyway, sorry, I'll stop talking. Love you guys.
Okay, Bill?
I'll just say each person is unique, and you kind of need to navigate to figure out how you can approach a person. And then when you do deal with people, it's ideal, if you really believe the material, that you deal with it with a spirit of love, where you're coming from. You know, you have compassion, you get to know them, and you just try to kind of diffuse things all the time and just have that spirit of love. and then be reconciliatory and agreeable. And then there's a point you need to let things go, then just let it go and do it happily and gratefully, and do it all with love.
Great. Yes, yes. So I got a summary here of both what we read, and I know some people joined late, so I'll start with that one. So sharing spirituality without infringing on free will. So key points: honoring free will. They're just commending the question that not to reach out before reaching out is needed or requested. And then, since many convinced of the rightness of their service go forth without taking a moment even to consider the impact of service. And they talked about how some people used to, or still do in some cases, force their religion on others, or their beliefs on others, like in some Muslim countries, for example. And then imagine, practice empathy and understanding. Imagine the self being within the shoes of the other self, and then radiate through beingness. Your spirituality is shared first and foremost through your beingness. So just how you are, that is one of the greatest services that you can provide. And then dropping seeds of insight. So communicate that which the self has found in small doses. So, just share the ideas gently without attachment. If they don't follow up, forgive and love them unconditionally. If they do, rejoice in gratitude. Align words in the heart. May the self speak many beautiful words of the oneness of the creation, but hold its heart in incongruity with those words. So it would also talked about how philosophy itself doesn't lead to much. So it's really, the wisdom has to be balanced by love in order to make content. So the self-forgiveness in the inner work. The work done upon the self is to forgive the self. It is to do the work upon the world itself too. So as we learn to heal ourselves, we're healing the world. And effortless service through presence. Service is not one that requires an outward doing, but instead emanates from your beingness. Okay. I see Adam has his hand up. Go ahead, Adam.
Part of this reading, they talked about you can't walk in the shoes of the other self in this density. I thought that was kind of a cool hint at other densities you can walk in the shoes of the other self. But I think that's part of the creator knowing itself, reviewing those experiences when we walked in all of our other shoes, and then seeing how we could have better helped. And then in the next octave or whatever next incarnation, we use those and grow to plant seeds better.
Mm-hmm. So for those that missed it, I'll just read the paragraph here. While it is, of course, impossible to truly walk in the shoes of the other self within your density, these experiences can open previously unencountered channels within the heart by engaging them in a sincere and intentional way. And in so doing, it is possible to move outside the realm of imagination, important as this faculty is to the engendered of empathy, and truly begin to feel into the energy of the other self. So even though we can't physically be in the other shoes, but even just engaging in that intention of empathy, and what would it be like for them, that it's a good exercise. Ed?
That kind of, to me, kind of seems like it implies that the way we actually feel empathy and the way that we kind of that works is us actually connecting up to the chakras and the actual energy centers of other. So the way we can kind of understand how they feel is by directly kind of connecting to their crown chakra or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Interesting. Okay. Now, Dan and Anthony, we haven't heard much from you, either of you guys, or Fred or Robert. You guys want to reflect on this? Dan?
I'm sorry. I joined in late, and then I got distracted setting up the Zoom or the thing, so I have not been focusing, but I will focus. I promise you.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So we're just how to share without. All right. And so here I got another analysis here that could be helpful in understanding what we read. So I asked, so how does one share without infringing on free will? So wait for the call. Be attuned to when someone is actively seeking your help or guidance. It can be verbal, emotional, or situational. Not to impose the service, not to reach out before the reaching out is needed or requested. So kind of like, hopefully that's understandable. Observe without assumption. Notice subtle signs of a need, like withdrawal or unspoken pain, but don't assume your perspective is correct. Ask questions like, are you okay? How can I support you? To confirm their needs. Respect individual sovereignty. Understand that each person has their unique paths and lessons. Avoid imposing your solution or beliefs. This dynamic, manifested in your religious distortion, has precipitated great suffering on your planet. So that's when people do not respect the sovereignty of other people and want to force their own beliefs on others. Practice empathy. Imagine yourself in the other person's position, seeing the world as they do. This helps you serve in alignment with their perspective. How can you re-see them, those which to serve with compassion and not with judgment or anger? And be a radiant example. So that's going back to that beingness. Share your beingness, your actions, kindness, balance. Inspire others more than your words. Your spirituality is shared first and foremost through your beingness. So like, things you have control over, like how you dress, how you look, how much you meditate, because your brain waves will affect the surroundings. Drop seeds, not mandates. Share insights or experiences lightly, like planting seeds. Let others decide if and when they'll nurture these ideas. Communicating in small doses. If there's fertile ground, then the seed will grow. And aligning words with the heart. Ensure your inner state reflects the values you wish to share. This congruence is key to authentic influence. The self may speak many beautiful words of the oneness of creation, but hold in its heart an incongruity with those words. So you want to be congruent, because if you're saying one thing, but you hold something else in your heart, people can feel that you're being inauthentic, and then they feel like you're lying to them, and then, well, you're not going to get your message across. So make sure that you heartily believe, what you're saying, that you're saying the truth, and you're united as one. Forgive yourself and others. So inner healing and forgiveness radiate outwards. The work done upon the self is to forgive the self and serve without attachment, and let beingness speak without words. All right. So did that make sense to everybody? Yeah. Great. Fred, go ahead. Yep.
You able to hear me? Okay. I just think it's interesting that something that sounds so simple and so easy to do is actually, it's kind of a sandbox rule, to behave like that. I mean, we're taught that as children. When you're in kindergarten, you learn those, share, be nice, empathize with people and everything. But it's just so bizarre that if you were able to get just that simple concept across to people everywhere, it would probably prevent 90% of the wars that humanity has ever endured.
Mm-hmm.
At least in my opinion. I don't know. It's just,
right.
It's such a simple thing that people overlook that simple thing often enough that it's a major problem.
Yeah, well, respecting other people's free will would certainly prevent most wars, because most wars are about infringing on someone's free will.
Well, right, but also, that with utilizing the because I come from an exoteric family, an exoteric upbringing, very religious, and when I was a teenager, we went every weekend and protested with horrible. Now I look back, I mean, very horrible signs. Protested the abortion clinic in Youngstown. What a horrible way to get your point across. Horrible way. to put up pictures of dead babies while women are being ushered into a clinic to that's not how you exhibit love for sure.
Fair enough.
You know, so but that's the mindset of those exoteric philosophies and religious philosophies is force your will. The only way to get it out there is to shove it down people's throats. And everybody does it their own way. You know, some people protest with signs with aborted babies on it. Some people knock on your door and say, you know, have you been washed in the blood of Jesus? You know, it's just everyone's different, but it's all doing the same thing.
Fair enough. All right, Ed.
Okay, so one thing that before I forget is something I think it was Socrates said, and I think it was something along the lines of, you can help a man with his burden, but you should never take it from him. And I think that is like really sums this whole thing up. You know, like if somebody asks for your help, then you'd be a dick to not help them. But that doesn't mean that they haven't still got to do the work. They haven't still got to find their own way. And all you can ever do is kind of give them a little bit of help. But it always comes down to, showing how you live and how your experiences have given you, a deeper understanding of things. Those are the things that I find that get through to people. Like, they it doesn't matter what life they lead or whatever, like I said earlier, but kind of listen to people's problems and then I speak to them about what's actually happening in their life and real life stuff. But then I'll also bring it back to the kind of spiritual reasons why these things happen to us, why we can move past them by understanding, the awareness of what we are and stuff. So, the point is, it's kind of I don't know. All of these things kind of have to happen. We have to kind of sow the seeds, right? But then we have to be so careful not to force the seeds on people.
Yes.
Going out protesting with signs and stuff, that's not the way. But then showing people the kind of the value in it, in that spiritual understanding, in the kind of the deeper esoteric understanding of reality, and how much that kind of, I don't know, how that can help pretty much through anything, really, if you know how to apply it right. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but the Law of One gave me all of the missing bits that I needed. I was able to start building a metaphysical philosophy I understood and I connected to via Ra's teachings. It tied everything together in a big bow. I don't know about anyone else's feelings, but that's what I felt. So, if I could offer those little kind of ties to people, then I will. All day long. That's my service. Whether it's philosophical or whether it's purely empathically led, it's always going to lead to something in the Law of One, because it's all there, and you can bring everything down to it in some regard. Whatever problem people are having, that and the Hermetic tree, you've basically got a map for everything.
Yeah, Edward, great beard, by the way. Yeah, and then also. I know I have, I struggle with this as well myself, in terms of, trying to find that point between bringing awareness and then and then forcing my opinion on others, because there is that kind of strong tendency sometimes, but really have to restrain yourself and then, just really work on just being more than talking about it.
Also, I think that this kind of relates back to the middle pillar thing as well. If you were to go too far good polarity, then you would end up forcing that on people. Whereas in that middle place, you can have that balance between the two. That's just my kind of, once again, Hermetics all ties in.
Well, I feel that if you were very service to others polarized, you would be respecting other people's free will. Whereas if you were neutral, then it would be very chaotic. You'd be very chaotic, and sometimes you would be infringing on other people's free will, and sometimes you would be respecting it, and then people wouldn't know which way you're going, really, because you're still in the choice realm, the sinkhole of indifference.
Like I said, I'd still argue that, the reason the line's set where it is because that's where the middle pillar is. And you go further into that way, over further that way, then you're in that sinkhole. You know, like that. You have to be over that line that way. You know, we've had this conversation before. You know, I think we
All
just
right.
see it in a
All right.
different
So
perspective.
Dan,
Right?
Dan, and then Fred. Okay, go ahead, Dan.
Oh, just real quick. I wanted to say that I totally agree with Edward. I love, trying to spread the positivity and the law of one. But something I've just learned real quick is that when you live your life in service to others, you start seeing these like synchronicities and things just start working out for you. At least for me, right? And like you're living happy. You're so full of energy. People will come to you and ask you like, "Hey, why are you? What happened to you? You used to be so pessimistic. You used to be so angry. You're full of spirit. I feel this energy from you." That's when they come to you and seek that truth, right? And then you can plant that seed like, well, I started getting to the law of one, and then leave it at that. Don't go too far. But I've learned to kind of give that message, but not go too into the details, because then they start rolling their eyes and walk away. But yeah, I felt like they'll come to you when they see that positivity that you radiate, and from there, I think that's the seed can definitely be growing better.
And not only that, but how you kind of deal with situations, how you deal with catalyst. When you go through really hardcore stuff, like the way you deal with it, that's the radiating. That's showing people you can deal with things with love, and it still be just as good a response.
Fred, did you still want to speak, or Bill? Okay, Fred. And then
Yeah. I just wanted to say real quick that their requirements for intervening with help were when it's asked for or when it's needed by circumstance. So we have to also remember that I've seen people do this where there's like a passive aggressiveness involved, where they're saying, well, I'm not going to tell them, because they didn't ask me, whatever. And here comes a meteor, get out of the way. You have to balance that. Balance is very important too, where when you see something that needs attention or needs something spoken about, something said, you should speak up. And that, I think, sometimes a little dance where
I'm
we
headed out of here. I haven't fed the dogs yet.
don't know that like that barrier between breaking free will and am I doing something out of necessity because of the situation.
Bill. Yeah.
A lot of times when I talk to people about this kind of subject, I won't even tell them what I'm believing. I just say the philosophy I believe in, and I just keep it at that.
I always say, well, Ra says.
Yeah.
That's a good way to get people to ask really pointed questions, because I'll never forget my son one time. It was a Friday before our meeting, and he asked me, he's like, oh, your meeting's tonight. He's like, so who is Ra? Just flat out, he had heard me say it so many times, probably. He's like, who the hell is Ra? What, you say this thing with Ra? What does that mean? Well, it just opens the door, So sometimes when you say names like that, if you say Quo or Hatan or Ra or whatever, you get a question. That's kind of a little bit of a segue. That's a psychological trick.
Yeah, you're planting that seed.
Mm-hmm.
Or okay, Ed.
Sorry, I don't want to keep jumping in. But then I'd say that like the inverse side of this, is I don't know about you guys, but I go on those kind of like atheist versus theist debate websites, and with the law of one, we're kind of like an advantage. I don't know if anyone noticed, but like, because we can kind of correct all of the theology, and we can kind of correct the scientific basis, and have it all go to the same place. So I don't think anyone really has. We're kind of the mid ground between the two, So I find that, like it said in there, I do get the whole kind of like, listen to this, throw it all at them, and then like Yeah, you do see like how easily like that whole atheistic mindset crumbles when the law of one is like laid out, because of the fact is, like, I think of it as a very complete philosophy. There's not many different points that can be brought up that aren't covered somewhere. So once again, I suppose that is kind of adversarial, kind of combative, but it sows those seeds, and that's what we're there to do, right? We're supposed to there to be debate. It's not like I'm forcing it on people. They've entered into a debate of their own free will, right?
Yes.
So I
Yes.
just batter them with law of one until they've got absolutely nothing to say. Anyway.
Well, yeah, that is one of the ways is that if it's their free will, then it's fine. And then also one of the things that Fred was mentioning about when there's a need. So, for example, in Canada, we have a massive, housing problem and people starving, and like 1 out of 4 families, the parents don't have enough food. So they have to go without food so that their children can eat. So things are really bad, and so there's a need, and so I've been promoting, distributism, where the idea that there's a human right to land, and that people should get enough land, because in Canada we have 10 hectares per person, but the problem is that the government is hoarding 89% of it, so that they can rape and pillage it with mega corporations. And then 97% of the rest of the land is owned by a handful of plutocrats. And that's why we have a housing and crime and people starving, even though we're a wealthy nation ostensibly. Okay, but let's. Okay, well, I want to just do final remarks now, and then we'll move on to reading the next.
I was only going to say about what you said, dude. I was going
Okay,
to say,
go ahead. Go ahead.
Lots of my customers, I'm sure you guys would guess my profession, say that I basically run it like a non-profit. That's very, very rare in someone in my profession.
What's your profession?
Yeah, pharmaceutical sales.
Oh, I see. Okay.
He's a candy man.
Okay. Fair enough. All right, Robert, did you want to read more?
I will finish this session.
Okay.
It is now Austin channeling. We are Quo, and we are once again with this instrument. And we again joyfully share our gratitude with this group for the invitation to join you and to share our thoughts upon your queries for this gathering. For in inviting us and calling to us and requesting our service, you do us a service by allowing us to share with you our own selves. For we must await the
calling, and we are more than happy to respond.
As you depart from this gathering, we would offer a suggestion. We are aware that, in a ritual sense, as this circle concludes, you will sing a song together. As you are singing this song, offer yourself and your gifts to this circle. Put into this song your heart, your power, your love, and your wisdom. For as you have gathered over the past few days, you have formed together a sort of group complex, an oversoul, or a thought form that you may call upon in your future as you go back out into your troubled world and traverse the difficult third density and become weary and are presented with the challenges and the difficulties and feel as though your inspiration and your batteries are drained. You can call out to this entity that is your shared collective, and in singing the song together, you can emphasize and offer yourselves to crystallize this entity. And we also offer a suggestion that as you go about your day and meditate, you can request our presence, and we would join you in your meditation. We will accept the invitation into your open heart and share with you the bounty of the one infinite creator. This experience of being with you in your heart is one of the most beautiful experiences that we of Quo can experience. At this time, we take leave of this instrument and of this circle, and we leave you as we found you, in the love and in the light and in the power and peace and glory of the one infinite creator. Adonai, my friends, Adonai Vasubaragus.
Awesome. Thank you, Robert.
You're welcome.
Mm-hmm. I was just noticing they were talking about being in the heart of during meditation, and Jesus also wants to be in the heart during the meditation. So I don't know if that's a conflict or it's not, but it's interesting that there's a having a different entity in your heart is a possibility, but they're all service to others alike.
Dude. He's just the path into the kingdom of heaven, right? That must be where they live.
Right. Yeah, and I know one of their introductory things, they said that they have been kind of officially sanctioned by Jesus Christ to teach these teachings on earth.
Which would make sense, Carla being who she was.
Yeah.
Well, Jesus is said to be near the beginning of the fifth density, is he not?
Now he is. Well, yes, he was high level fourth going on to fifth. So he was ready to go on to fifth, but then he came to earth to teach us how to love.
Right.
Because he had learned all the lessons of love, and he had not yet known any of the lessons of wisdom. And so he was the perfect teacher in that regard.
So he must be part of a social memory complex, is what I'm trying to get at. So
yes, he I think he's part of Yahweh.
Okay.
Or it's now called Yehoshua, which is based on his name, because that was the more true emanation, whereas there was negative entities that called themselves Yahweh in the Old Testament.
But didn't it start out as positive, but they took it over.
So they speak about this in the 1990s, that Moses was a positive entity, but he didn't know how to challenge the spirits. They tried to teach him by doing the Shema prayer, the Lord is one and things like that, and that's it's also a challenge. If you're saying the Lord is one, things like this. But he wouldn't do this challenge every time he would speak to the entity that he considered God, because he was like, well, it sounds the same, so it must be the same. But when he went up to the temple, to the mount, that's when he, encountered the negative entity, and he came down and he told them to slaughter all of the non-believers and things like this. Anyways, Ed, go ahead.
Then you got the whole idea of the ineffable doctrine, where they went through and edited the kind of the name in the Bible dramatically, changing it to Yahweh rather than Yahod, Bahe, or whatever it would be, or what would it be, Yahuwah, because it's like how you breathe, right?
Well, it was,
and then you've got they changed it mostly to Lord. And that's where the word God really kind of came into play, where it wouldn't have been before. It was all his name. Now, God, apparently, the word God as we know it, kind of came from the Canaanite god Gad, which weirdly was their god of money. How about that? And the other one that it got changed to was Lord. Now, Lord directly translates to Baal. So there's lots of kind of who the hell is he talking to inside that situation, and who are they getting us to pray to inside how the book's written now.
Interesting. But yeah, the most important part is holding that vibration of love and unity of the Creator, and it's really the vibration that matters rather than the sound of the name.
And that's to use in Hebrew, and then that's why you use Hebrew, because the resonance is important.
Well, we've talked about this before, and basically, it wasn't as important as it sometimes seemed. It depends on how you read it.
Well, realistically, intention is the most important thing.
Right,
But
exactly.
you know, if you're actually going to make a form a spell, then English is the most terrible language to use. It's basically a hybrid of all the worst bits of languages to basically hide magical use. We've got 5 vowels. You need like 20 odd to be magical. Like you can turn every single word in Hebrew into a vowel. So it's like there's this. It's got lots of weird bits to it. They all relate to numbers. They've all got patterns. They all form shapes. They've got, you know, like this means a specific pictogram as well. It's a complete weird thing. Then you've got gematria and how all of the numbers match up. It's definitely an alien language, definitely given to them, not something that they got.
Well,
So
there's
that's my opinion on it. Anyway,
infinite depth to anything if you go into details.
yeah, you say that, but it doesn't work in English. So, meh.
Well, a lot of people like English. Okay. Anyways, so what do you guys want? Do you guys want to discuss the rest of what we read here?
What he said there was a couple of bits I want to discuss on that. Okay, one, yeah, they actually gave me 2 ideas for what we should try and do. Yeah, one, he said that they created a thought form inside their group. Yeah, that is something that you, as you guys know, I'm like kind of put a lot of thought and kind of research into how that would be done, you know, and what we could do to kind of create a group one. Also, the other thing in there is, has anybody actually tried to meditate and invite the members of Quo into meditation? Because I have, and I got some pretty odd kind of responses. So, yeah.
Cool. Well, I invite the Confederation on a daily basis and get some mild communications from them. Robert?
I also invite them in my morning meditation, and frequently it's amazing. As soon as I say that I welcome their presence, there is like a light. I see it's almost like a door open and there's this light that appears. It happens almost every time. It's fascinating.
Wow.
It's weird you say about a door, because that's how Carla visualized talking to them. They'd walk into a door in her little kind of mind space, and that's where she'd have the conversation with them to channel them. So, dude, seriously, keep
Wow.
that.
Yeah, and you know what? Maybe that's why you're so good at reading this stuff, because I know I have trouble reading it out loud anyways.
I could probably read a cookbook well. I'm not sure.
Okay, well, I wanted to read
I would listen to that.
Like that.
Bene is spreading our Confederation message.
I'm at the
House.
White House, but over like the last 2 days, it's changed completely. Usually you can see everything, but I mean, if I walk forward, you can see the Washington Monument. I guess they're doing something for the inauguration or something. They built all these things so you can't see the White House. But that big White House behind there, that's the White House. Like, I could get to the corner, but it wasn't like this a few days ago. I don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Cool.
This is all outside the White House. Like, I'm probably maybe 150 yards from it.
Wow. Is that a fence?
Yeah, you can't get there. So they got all these weird trailers, all this shit. Fucking, they're building up some type of barrier. Maybe it's for the inauguration. You can see the Washington Monument right there at like 1 o'clock, kind of. But
yeah. Cool.
But that's the White House right here. I didn't expect this because I just drove by here the other day, but I don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't got barbed wire up, but you still ain't getting over.
Right. Fair enough.
It's on the side, so
yeah. Cool.
I have no idea.
Well, there
and
might
then
be...
here's the old Treasury building. I can just speed up here real quick. Friggin', this has been around from, after 1812, after they burnt this shit down.
Right. It used to be the Red House. before the Canadians burned it down.
I guess, I don't know, but this is the Treasury building.
Hmm.
And if you go just a little bit, maybe you can see it better. I don't know if I can zoom. Nah, I
Okay.
can't zoom.
No. Okay.
But you got all sorts of stuff, and you could kind of see the end of the White House right there. Usually
Mhm.
completely visible, so we'll do it another day. But
Cool. Well, thank you, Bene, for helping
well, we're
spread.
sitting out here broadcasting, so
Yeah, the Confederation teachings. Here, I'll read a paragraph while you're there. For as you have gathered over the past days, you have formed together as a sort of group complex, an oversoul, or a thought form that you may call upon in your future as you go back out into your troubled world and traverse the difficult third density, and become weary and presented with the challenges and difficulties, and feel as though your inspiration and your batteries are drained. Wait, that's not the thought form. Oh, that is the thought form. Okay, an oversoul or a thought form. There you go. So, anyone have any comments on this? I can also do an analysis on it.
Well, I know Ed has a lot to say on the matter as he let
Okay.
us know.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's the construction. But I'm gonna walk somewhere else and pick up a lift because it's been snowing all day. I'm cold as fuck. I don't have a winter jacket, so.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Do whatever you feel is right.
Don't
Oh,
die, dude. You're awesome.
Yeah. 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 We need you alive and well. Okay.
yeah, I'm not dying anytime soon. The world isn't that wonderful, so.
Group as a complex or oversoul, meaning when individuals come together with shared purpose or seeking, their energies combine to create a metaphysical entity. This group complex is greater than the sum of its parts. The insight, the group collective focus, harmony as an oversoul or a thought form, an entity that represents their collective intentions, experiences, and energies, serving as a spiritual reservoir that members can draw upon in times of need. Okay. Spiritual batteries replenishment.
Wait a minute. Go
ahead.
back up to that. Hold on.
Spiritual batteries.
No.
Challenges of third density. Connection beyond time and space.
Connection beyond time and space.
Okay. The oversoul remains accessible even after the group disbands physically. It acts as a spiritual resource for each member to reconnect with for strength and inspiration. This implies that shared intentions and love transcends the boundaries of time and space, offering ongoing support and encouragement. So I guess, like our sessions here, you can re-access each of us and as a group.
Well, that's not what came to my mind immediately.
Okay.
What that is, that brings up a million questions, because then that means if, say, for instance, you pre-incarnatively make a determination that you are going to, at least in this 3D, try, do your best to partner with another person for a specific goal. And maybe that doesn't happen. So you end up partnering with another person or persons eventually throughout your life. As you're doing that, you're building connections with that person's oversoul, even if they're not part of your oversoul. But you're kind of making what would you call it, a confederation or maybe an alliance with their oversoul, that you therefore then, even after that like say maybe the person dies or something, you have access to that congruent, that collective oversoul. Is that what I'm understanding?
So I am working on doing a meditation for us, but does anyone want to respond to Fred before I get into it? Okay, Ed, go ahead.
Okay, so like the way I kind of understand how oversouls work is that they kind of get grouped down into kind of like split into little packets, normally 6s and 24s, so that you get kind of soul groups and soul families and soul mates and all these different kind of like interactions that you have. It might be someone that you only meet twice, but they're there to serve a specific purpose inside your life. So, I'm assuming that we're all part of, as humans, part of one major, huge, massive oversoul. Like the Earth oversoul. I'm assuming. So however that's proportioned out, or what star sign or what soul group or whatever you're kind of like related to in some path sense. I'm assuming that individuals inside that can form connections and relations to people outside of that soul group. It might be exchanges of karma that are different to the ones that you're supposed to do inside that pattern, but that doesn't mean that look, we're all one. It's just self, right? So the different way that is proportioned, I don't know. Anyway, like this all kind of relates to what I talk about a lot with the whole kind of magical circuit, and building a structure, and how a social memory complex could work, and how quantum consciousness works, and how we link, and the whole idea of the quantum entanglement thing. When you spend enough time with somebody, your auras overlap, and then the energy kind of like connects, and then when you move apart, there's that kind of little chain that connects you, and there's always energy going backwards and forwards. I think I remember a quote talking about how when you have just sex with someone randomly, then there's that little wire connected that connects you up for like 10 years after. So you shouldn't just be promiscuous, because you're going to feel all those emotions to all those people for like years and years after. So that all of this relates to the same things, is what I'm kind of saying. Anyway, I apologize. I do like to chat on. This is one of my favorite pet parts of it all. So.
Fair enough. Okay, so is everyone okay with doing a meditation inviting the Confederation into our heart today? Yeah. I hear no objections. So
I want to go to the restroom first, real quick.
Okay, all right.
Also, can I just say, has anyone
Okay.
done the one on the Reality Revolution podcast, where he actually kind of it goes through each part of Kuo? So he kind of goes through Latway and Haton, and then he goes to Ra, and like, so you feel each separate energy.
I'm just gonna refill my water for now. I'll be back.
Because I found incredible reactions to some of them, but not so much to others. I mean, I don't know about you guys. Like Ra just sounded like crazy noise in my head, to be fair.
Yeah, I never even heard of that podcast before. I listened to Gabriel Lugo's Law One podcast on Spotify.
No, Reality Revolution is awesome, man. Seriously, that guy's fucking Bryce Scott's boss, mate. Love him.
Yeah, I never even heard of it.
Can you repeat that, Edward, again? The podcast.
Reality Revolution.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, Reality Revolution. It's Brian. He does a good job.
Yeah, I really like it, man. It's like me and him read all the same stuff. It's like, I'll read something, then 2 weeks later he'll be talking about it. I'll be like, what?
Yeah, Brian
Man,
Scott.
this
Yeah.
book's 40 years old. How does that work?
Okay.
I highly recommend listening to him read The Voices of Venus. Bloody beautiful book. Speaking weirdly, that actually talks about Jesus' ascension as well, like to fifth density from fourth.
Hey, Benny,
Yo.
mute your shit. You're beeping us all out.
Oh, friggin' mute me. I'm waiting for a lift.
Okay. I'll mute you. Hold on.
He's at one of them damn stoplights that beeps every time it's telling you, tricking you to wait.
Oh, that's funny. I had this feeling that you guys were like calling me. It's like he's the only one that knows how to do this. But you guys, all of you, can be moderators if you want. You just click on the little people person at the icon, and then if someone is being very loud, you can just mute them.
Am I going to make more money as a moderator?
No. Well, I mean, Yeah, you'll make more zeros.
Yeah, I was
Or
going to say, well, there's
zeros.
money. What the fuck?
Okay, so everyone's ready for the meditation now?
Yes.
Okay, great. This meditation will guide us to open our hearts to the loving presence of the Confederation of Planets, honoring the sacred principles of free will and connect with their collective oversoul. By doing so, we create a spiritual bridge to their guidance, wisdom, and love, which we can call upon whenever we need to strengthen or inspiration in the future. Sit comfortably in a quiet space. Close your eyes and take a deep breath in, holding it gently for a moment, and then exhale slowly. Repeat 2 more times, allowing your body to relax fully. Visualize roots extending from your body, your root chakra, into the earth, anchoring you to its strength and nurturing energy. Feel the grounding warmth rising through you, providing stability and safety. Imagine a column of golden white light descending from above, surrounding you in peace and divine protection. Say silently or loud, I am grounded in the love of the earth and connected to the infinite light of the Creator. I open myself to love, wisdom, and support of the Confederation. Bring your awareness to your heart center. Place your hands gently over your chest and imagine soft, radiant light glowing within. With each inhale, the light grows stronger and brighter. With each exhale, it expands outward, filling your entire being. Reflect on the interconnectedness of all beings and the sacredness of free will. Honoring your own path and those of others as divine expressions of the Creator. Say silently or aloud, I open my heart to love, compassion, and unity. I honor free will as a sacred gift of the Creator within myself and all beings. Feel your heart expand, creating a welcoming space for the Confederation's loving presence. Inviting the Confederation. Gently turn your focus to the presence of the Confederation of Planets in the love and light of the One Infinite Creator. Imagine their energy as a vast, gentle radiance surrounding and embracing you. Say silently or aloud, Beloved Confederation, I invite your presence into my heart. I seek your guidance and wisdom as I walk the path of seeking. in your life. I honor your service and your respect for free will. May our connection be one of mutual love and alignment with the Creator. Visualize the Confederation's collective energy merging gently with the light in your heart. Feel their presence as warm, peaceful, and supportive, amplifying the love and light within you. Joining the Confederation Oversoul. Now, imagine your light flowing outward, reaching toward the vast, radiant Oversoul of the Confederation. This Oversoul is a collective of consciousness formed by their unity and service to the Creator. All over the earth and throughout the stars. See your light connecting with theirs, forming a bond of shared love, wisdom, and intention. You are becoming a part of this collective energy, adding your unique vibration to its harmony while honoring your individuality. Seeing those other members of the Confederation through our skies and the inner planes and other living incarnate beings who have aligned with them. Say silently or loud, I join my heart with the Confederation's Oversoul, honoring our shared love for the Creator and respect for free will. I connect with this source of unity and wisdom, knowing I can call upon it in times of need. Feel the strength and peace of this collective presence, knowing it is now accessible to you as a spiritual anchor, connected to all those people doing random acts of kindness and being love all over the earth, through the stars. Gratitude and integration. Gently return your awareness to your individual heart space, still glowing with the light of love. Knowing the connection with the Confederation Oversoul remains, and you can revisit it whenever you seek guidance or renewal. Express gratitude for the Confederation's presence and your growing connection to their collective energy. Say silently or aloud, I thank the Confederation for their love, wisdom, and service. I carry this connection with me as a source of strength, inspiration, and I honor the sacredness of free will in all I do. Visualize the light within your heart, stabilizing, shining steadily as a beacon of love and unity. As you gently come back to the present moment, affirm your intention to walk the path of love and service. Say silently or aloud, I am one with the Creator. I honor free will. I am part of the great unity of love and light. Adonai. Okay. Thank you, everyone. That was the meditation. So, reflections? How did it go? Robert?
I didn't see that light as I spoke of when I do my personal meditation, but there was light, definitely. There was interesting. I'm not sure why this was, but right towards the very end when we were connecting and holding that connection in our waking existence, all of a sudden I saw two breasts. and the left breast, if it was a woman looking at me, I couldn't tell really. I just saw a breast, but the left breast had a crescent moon tattoo on it. It was just, I found that curious to see that.
That is unusual.
Yeah. And I wanted to make a comment way at the beginning of that meditation when you're talking about breathing.
Mm-hmm.
And you say, take in a deep breath, then hold it for a minute.
Oh, I said, I think it was a moment or something. Hold on. What did it say?
It
For a
says
moment. Gently hold it for a moment.
I could have swore you said minute, though. I was like, whoa, that's...
that was a mishearing. Sorry. Or if I mispronounced it.
That's it from my perspective. Thank you for that, though, yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, Adam left. So for me, I also participated, and it was good. I had, my usual contact with the Confederation, but then also the Oversoul thing was interesting because I could feel and see. I was like, we were part of a network, and then I could see the other kind of Confederation aligned entities working all around the earth, and doing their acts of service and kind of contributing to the collective, and it was just like a beautiful kind of a oneness of it.
Isn't there like 550 of them, I think?
Well, there's 550 million wanderers on Earth. I think the majority of them are fourth density or third density graduates who have come back to try to help Earth. And then the minority of them are fifth or sixth, well, mostly sixth, but some fifth density wanderers.
My system locked up right as I asked that question, so I didn't hear your answer right away. But my question was, I thought there was like 550 or so planetary civilizations.
Oh, yes.
In the Quo collective.
Here, I have it on my intro here. Age of Peace. We are the Confederation. I am one of the members of the Confederation of Planets in service of the Infinite Creator. 53 civilizations comprising 500 planetary conscious complexes in this confederation. So, planetary conscious complex. This confederation contains those from your planet who have attained dimensions beyond your third. It contains planetary entities within your solar system, and it contains planetary entities from other galaxies. It is a true confederation in that its members are not alike, but are allied in service according to the law of one.
That's what we were connecting to.
That's right. That's right. It's massive. Mhm. Ed?
Okay, so you know, I don't know whether I mentioned it, but I had some like recent things when like, you know, some kid tried to like rob me with a knife and stuff, and kind of like I don't know, it kind of messed with my kind of like root chakra and the whole kind of like feeling secure in yourself thing.
Mhm.
You know, so I've had real kind of trouble kind of like getting the whole system kick-started, balancing everything, you know. Been a real struggle. Especially my heart chakra. I've had a real, but like that's annoyingly, that's the one that's always been the easiest for me. It's like, because that's what I always do. I love everyone else, not the biggest fan of me, you know. The yellow one's the hardest one to get going, but the heart is just, it's free and ready, you know. But then, you know, getting, I don't know, just not being like the whole system started is it's really frustrating me, like annoyingly, you know. And that right there, it was like something just kicked down the fucking walls, and like, oh my god, man, I had like a, I was, what, that was really insanely intense for me. I don't know. I saw like what looked like a huge glowing like hourglass kind of shape. You know, with kind of like, I don't know, like feeding in from both directions into kind of a whirlpool in the center,
Mhm.
kind of like a, and then kind of like, I don't know, like okay, so remember I said ages ago, yeah, when we were doing the meditations with Susanna, yeah, we were trying to like, you know, toying with the whole idea of the social memory complex thing,
Right.
and like, and I was talking about that whole shamanic wires thing that I mentioned a while ago, like, you know, that we're all connected, these little cords, and everyone we come in contact with, we create the little links in whatever way, you know, and us like talking for so long on this, you know, this is quantum entanglement stuff. It doesn't matter that we're not, you know, come in contact, you know, like these things work because of
Mhm.
consciousness and intention. You know, it's like how
Yes.
we're always connecting via this. It's the same links. And one of the meditations she did, yeah, it's like I could feel like the outer kind of regions of my aura. I could feel these little kind of tunnels that went off. And it's like if I concentrated on each tunnel, it's like I could feel each one of the people in a little thing. And it's like it was really strange because it was like, all right, it's not like I could see through their eyes or anything like that, but it's like I could recognize who they were from that little tunnel. Yeah, that right there was another thing, right? It's like I felt your guys' energies, I felt us all kind of link, right? And that, I think that was the thing that busted down the doors. You know, letting the collective that we all want to. Oh, anyway, sorry, that was cool for me,
Okay.
guys. Thank you ever so much. Honestly, I
Mhm.
love all of you. Fucking heart chakra shit.
Great. Anyone else want to offer reflections before we move on to another topic? Or Anthony, I don't know if you haven't said anything today. I don't know if you're still there.
No, I'm still here. I've been listening the whole time.
Oh,
I'm running
okay.
errands. Yeah, I'm running errands and stuff, and I just got to pick myself from soccer, and I got to do dinner. But I'm listening, and I'm participating as best I can.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, Dan.
Yeah. So I'm still new at meditation. I still consider myself a new person in Law of One. I just started meditating last year, and I
Mhm.
came from an atheist background, and so I don't see that many things when I meditate.
Mhm.
But I have seen some things recently. But in this session today, I did see like a blue spark when you were asking us to like connect with the oversoul of the Confederates. Something about that. I just
Mhm.
saw a quick blue spark on my right side. But
Mhm.
other than that, I haven't seen anything. But definitely, I did enjoy it and I did feel something. But
Mhm.
that's all I can share today. Thank you.
Fair enough. Well, thank you, Dan. And it takes practice, for sure. I mean, I started meditating when I was 12 years old, so I've had a lot of practice, and it takes years, kind of an intention, and then now it's gotten very easy, and I have full range of communication with my
I
spirit guides.
you want to
Go ahead,
say,
Fred.
Dan, that's very commendable of you to do that. It's Meditating. I didn't come at this from my. I went through a religious, God-fearing family to atheist to this. So I guess I kind of understand what you're coming at this from. But when I first started learning the raw material, because that's how I got pulled into all of these spiritual philosophies and different groups, was through the raw material. Um, everyone was always saying, the first thing is meditating. The most important thing is getting a meditation routine down. You got to start meditating. Find a meditation that works for you. And it drove me nuts. It pissed me off because I thought of it as, well, no, because I think about certain things as an extreme waste of my time. If a telemarketer is calling me and they don't shut up and hang up, I hang up. You're wasting my time sitting there and watching a football game. I might as well be watching snails go at it on the concrete in my basement. It's a waste of time. So I felt the same way strongly about meditation, but everyone's brought up different, everyone's taught different things, growing up, and they see different things. So it was kind of laughed at and joked about like it was a waste of time. Like, oh, these tree hugging hippies out there and meditating, it was just silliness. But I will tell you what, after finding a few different avenues and some very good people that I have met in Law of One communities like this that have invited me to try all different kinds of meditations, and not every single one is going to be something that you're going to enjoy. I've been in meditations that I did not enjoy, not meaning they didn't work, meaning that they did work and I didn't enjoy getting. Not everyone enjoys shadow work. So you come out of a meditation, you're bawling your eyes out. That was a good meditation, even though you might not have enjoyed it in the moment, but you
That's
get
my favorite type.
you
Yeah.
get extreme benefit from it every time you do it, even if you don't visualize and see anything. I get kind of what you would consider extreme visuals most of the time, and lately, the last couple months or so, I've been getting more senses. I can smell smells. I can hear sounds. I actually can like feel things I can feel the rumbling of a waterfall, So those things have been starting to come out. It's interesting. It's really something that's fascinating to me. Something that I was so scoffing of is now actually something that I enjoy more almost than anything else that I do in my spiritual practice, meditating. So I commend you. Keep doing it. And if you want any suggestions for meditation, just ask in the group. I'm sure you'll get flooded with them.
Thank you.
Anthony.
Oh yeah, no, meditation is my bread and butter, so I just wanted to speak on it just for 2 moments here. I come from a Zen background, and so a little bit different when we're talking about experiences. Actually, in Zen, we really try to encourage not to necessarily seek those types of things, because if any of us, everyone here on the call who's done meditation over a period of time, can tell you honestly that each time is a little bit different. Sometimes you will have opportunities where your mind is wide open and you have all kinds of different experiences, and they vary from each person to each stage as you grow deeper in your practice. And then the majority of the time, you're really just trying to focus on your breath and doing your best to be kind to yourself as your mind continues to do what the mind does. Even after 7 years of daily practice, my mind still does pretty much the same thing it did in the beginning. However, the difference is I'm able to sit with it. No matter what comes up, I can sit with it and have peace, sit with it, and find stillness even in the chaos of my mind. And one thing I would encourage is not to seek even those type of experiences, but just seek sitting on the cushion, or seek just doing the meditation, even if it means you just trying to focus on your breath and it never gets there. The act of doing it is the meditation. There is no state really to achieve, because you make my mistake, and what I've seen many people's mistake is they'll reach these moments, and then when they do not happen again, they'll drop the meditation and blame the meditation or blame themselves. When in fact that, we're not here to be in exotic heavenly moments. We're here to love and to learn how to love more deeply. And meditation can help you better understand and accept yourself. And then from better understanding and better accepting yourself, I think Robert was talking about the titties that pop up in your mind, because they do that. And then the most wholesome thought will come up. And you have to, shouldn't say have to, that's the wrong word. In your practice, you'll be able to, if that is your choice, to be able to sit in them both and love both those aspects of yourself, and be able to rest in the middle, knowing that you are the creator, you're something greater than that. And then those types of moments, they'll become more and more prevalent to you, and more able to eventually be able to do an awakening state off the cushion. So as you're meeting and your wife is yelling at you about, not washing the dishes, you can be in a still state and say, honey, you're right. When your kids are jumping around and acting a fool, you can say, calm down, guys. You know what I'm saying? Let's or even let them do whatever it is they need to do. So that's really the power of the meditation. The experiences, and these are a bunch of wanderers on the call, first of all, and these guys are borderline adept. So, many different things. I'm pretty sure as you're going to experience, I'm confident the reason why you're here is because I've seen you on the call. You're here because you're either going to be graduating or you're a wanderer. So as you lean into these practices, you're going to experience all kinds of stuff. However, just remember, the practice is the practice. And even if you start, the last thing I'll say, the best thing to do is to start very small. And I mean, even if it's just a minute, the most important thing, more important than the time in my experience and in teaching this, is to be consistent. So if every day at 8 o'clock you meditate for 2 minutes, do that every day at 8 o'clock for 2 minutes. And naturally, you will be like, ooh, that 2 minutes was good. I'm going to do 3 minutes next time. And before you know it, you're up to an hour. You're going to retreats, and it will naturally occur. But don't force it. Don't push it too hard, because your mind will boil up things to you that you have not yet experienced. And that in large doses can be overwhelming. You'll have memories and all kinds of things that will pop up that you may not want to experience just yet. But in small doses, you can take it over time. And over time, your mind will settle.
Thank you so much.
Over time. Yeah. Love you guys. Love you, Dan.
Okay.
I'm glad you found us.
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you. That was wonderful insights. So Ed, and then I have a thing on shadow work meditation. Okay, go ahead, Ed.
So I like Andrii, well, probably for different reasons. I had like anxiety stuff and that when I was quite young, so I got given kind of guided meditation tapes to kind of like how to learn to calm myself and kind of all this other stuff. So I kind of started doing that quite early. Then, like Anthony was saying, I got really quite into the kind of the Buddhist meditation, the kind of then later on I got into pranayama yoga and breathing exercises to kind of like literally open up your chest and do all this other weird stuff and fold my body inside out and stuff. It's weird. Then after that, kind of all of these steps towards, but that kind of the Buddhist gnosis state that Anthony was just describing, I spent lots and lots of time sitting in that, and that kind of led me to what Fred was saying, where over quite a long time, many years of doing these things, I just found that like, where's the enlightenment? Where's the gnosis? So then, a little while later, I kind of, well, I don't know. I had some really kind of crazy awakening experiences with, chemicals, and then essentially that led me to kind of like the next kind of how I saw step of it, which is kind of once I kind of came back after a period of atheism and, learning neuroscience and stuff, kind of came back to it with the more actually kind of the applied form of meditation that kind of the Western occult teaches, where like the sitting in the gnosis part that I'd got so good at prior was kind of step one, and like then that those enlightenment experiences that I'd had chemically, that was kind of like gave me the map for kind of step two, and then when you actually start to kind of apply it, like Anthony was saying about how kind of like you can do this in the waking state. Like, one of the things that the Golden Dawn teaches is actually kind of like, closing your eyes for a second and actually kind of releasing your astral double to go and do the LBRP around the room. And I can literally like be that other guy, you know, and like that being able to, well, all of these different skills that it then leads to, that meditation open, that trains your mind to be able to do so many different things. And then the main thing I would say to you know, somebody who's just starting, the things that really kind of got through to me, the power of this stuff, is just awareness. Yeah, just look at all the stuff that's inside yourself that you never noticed was there, and there's so much. Like when you start talking about chakras, don't try and imagine all the chakras. Literally just feel, because they're there. And when you start to feel them, you can't turn it off. They're there, right? The main one that I like to tell everybody about, but you know, I always say on here, is the look at your palm one. Exactly, completely in the mind. You literally, you step out, you do that, and then you step back in, and it's done. Your basis, you're protected, even though you haven't waved any ones around. It's there. You know, the whole staring at your palm thing. Okay, stare at the middle of your palm. After a little while, you start to feel like a little buzzing right in the middle. Now, I don't mean on the skin. I mean like right inside, in between the bones. Right now, there's no sensory receptors there. There's nothing for you to sense in there. But if you concentrate on it long enough, you will feel that vibration. Now, once you concentrate on that vibration, you'll feel that go all the way up your arm. You'll feel that go away across your shoulders, all the way down the other arm, right? And then you'll feel it go up and down your body, and then you'll feel this weird one that goes in between your heart and your brain. Yeah, these little vibratory patterns inside your body are all there. But unless someone points them out, unless you start to look for them, you'll never notice. But when you do, oh my God, it's like, what the hell? What is this incredible thing that I am? And honestly, once you start getting those kind of breakthroughs, dude, you want to meditate. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a person that I think would, you know, meditating every day, I think can lead to you using it for escapism, because I've done that. I've disappeared into meditation for like weeks at a time, and can be kind of, so having an order practice is good, but I always like Alan Watts' piece of advice, which is, you know, meditation should be like LSD. It should be taken medicinally, not dietary. I just find that I get more out of it when I have one huge, incredible experience rather than lots of little mini ones. But I would say that's putting your awareness inside, feeling these things. Part of that isn't meditation anymore. That is part of who I am.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you, Ed. And so I just wanted to add some of the Confederation perspective on meditation. And the timing of it is, well, I don't know if it's necessarily a meditation, but they encourage at the end of your day, as before bed, or maybe as you're laying in bed, is to reflect upon the catalyst of the day. And that can be a meditation in and of itself, even if maybe you're not sitting up. But you're just like kind of processing your catalyst throughout the day with forgiveness, love, and kindness, with an open heart. And so since Dan was asking about shadow work, I compiled this based on the various quotes. So shadow work meditation is a transformative practice for seekers to integrate and understand the hidden aspects of the self. By acknowledging and embracing the shadows within, we unlock pathways to deeper self-love, compassion, and alignment with the Creator's light. Drawing from the Confederation's teachings, this article explores how to navigate the shadows with meditation, gentle analysis, and loving awareness. So, man is also creator and can cause the shape of love to change. Yet the heart of all action is love, shadowed and twisted at times. Recognize that even the shadows are distortions of love and hold the potential for healing. And as you do that, it will be easier for you to forgive and love other people, because you will see, you know, the shadows that were within yourself that you transformed into love, and you will see them in others, and you will know that there's love behind them. So use meditation to observe and embrace. Through meditation, you may begin to see the heart of love in all the clumsy actions of all those who enter your atmosphere. And I guess that's what I was just saying, is that as you learn to love the shadow aspects of yourself, you will be able to forgive and love them in others. Ask reflective questions. What am I perceiving? What am I learning? Where is love now, right now, in this moment? And that is a wonderful thing to do. Or even like I know that when I've had, say, a dark or a negative kind of experience, then I often like to do the challenging process of I greet you in the love and light of the one infinite creator, affirming that we are all one being, and then really feeling that love and then that gratitude. And that really helps to shift your vibration. And when confronted with difficult emotions, ask yourself where the love resides in the situation, and you can't help but answer it. And it's that path of love that will always lead you to greater wholeness and oneness. So, balancing shadow work with preparation. Always to begin with meditation, with the balancing of the energy system, so that the energy system is without significant imbalance. That's an interesting one. So before doing the shadow work, spend a few minutes visualizing your energy centers, clearing and harmonizing. And so that's as we were talking about before, the different chakras. Uh, it's a long topic, so we won't get into it today. So free yourself from the limitation of your own expectations and ask with care, with sincerity, and with constancy. Believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself. And one of the most important things for seeing things in your meditation is believing that you are worthy and knowing that you are worthy to see and feel those things. Love the self fully. It's difficult to do work in consciousness until one has become at peace with one's being and its full nature, with all its shadows and dark side. And so that's one of those great benefits of the shadow work, is that as you're learning to love yourself fully, then you can start to do work in consciousness that is much greater. Move from shadow to light. We set your feet upon the path that leads from shadow into light. So, reading the Confederation material, there's lots of it, and lots of it brings you to love. And there's a great search feature. If there's some emotions you are struggling with, you can search for them in the Confederation material and see what resonates with you. For you to seem enlightened, a light to those around, is the most helpful thing to wish. Share your light through acts of kindness, compassion, and understanding. So, as you've done this shadow work. Shadow work and meditation is a journey into the depths of the self, uncovering hidden fears and distortions and transforming them into opportunities for love and wisdom. The process requires patience, preparation, and the willingness to embrace the mystery. So, all right. Well, I hope that helps, Dan. Did that help?
Yeah, thank you. It did, and especially the last part, because I was wondering, like, what does it involve? But it involves going back and seeing like the fears and what triggers you and stuff like that. So I definitely have to do a lot of that.
And as Anthony was saying, that just as you practice meditation, if you're doing it, regularly, and like Ed was saying, that it's best not to do it in excess. So usually they say 5 minutes might be like 10 to 20 minutes is ideal. It's just like a good nap. Um, and as you do meditation and as you go throughout your day, you may have memories of things that happened in your past. You don't even have to kind of dig for them; they'll just arise. And just as those arise, just remember to respond to them with forgiveness, love, and kindness. And because oftentimes that's unprocessed catalyst from your past. And if it remains unprocessed, then that leads to disease and aging and death. But if you process that catalyst, then, well, your life is extended and you become closer to the creator and your soul grows. So it's just benefits there. Yeah. Ed?
Okay, so I kind of see the whole process of shadow work as like magical cognitive behavioral therapy. It's basically psychology before anyone had psychology. You had like magic books that taught people how to kind of think a different way, which kind of helps you. Anyway, point is that when I started doing the shadow work, as it were, I'd already been through cognitive behavioral therapy. So part of that was kind of going through things that cognitively I had wrong, tracing back those thoughts, why I think the way that I think, to then track why I have the emotional reactions that I do, to therefore hopefully affect my behavior, right? So when I started doing the shadow work, and I was reading through Carl Jung and these other ways of actually kind of visualizing and actually giving a face and a personality, a little conceptual ego to the things about you that you regret, that you feel bad about, that you hold on to, that you hate, or you whatever part of you that is negative. Give that part a slight persona.
Mhm.
The Red Book by Carl Jung is a great resource. Anyway, the idea being that you learn what it is, yeah, and then instead of hating it and destroying it, hating yourself because of it, you embrace it. You learn its positive attributes, what it can do to help you rather than destroy you. How you can refocus those energies to make you better. Right? So never try to destroy your demons, hug them. Yeah, because they'll make you stronger. Yeah, if you try to destroy them and fight them, then they'll just keep coming back. That's ignoring the catalyst, right? So that's the whole point. Right?
That's fighting in the catalyst rather than
exactly.
integrating it.
Rather than embracing it, and rather than learning from it and rising above it. Using that thing to make yourself better rather than beating yourself up with it and destroying yourself with it. Right? And I think that really, for me, because I'd been through the cognitive behavioral therapy, it just stopped me being crazy, right? But what did help, is having a spiritual way of treating those same cognitive processes and those same emotional biases and those same, because I've full on blamed the last guy. You guys know what I'm talking about, that guy.
Oh yes.
I fully
I
blame
know.
him for why I am what I am. That I am literally the living action of suffering of karma, based because of like I can't
Previous
demonstrate
incarnation.
this. My yellow ray is the hardest one to get going. Yeah, because the view of me is never ever what it should be. And I see that as pre-cognitive, pre-incarnative, but it doesn't seem to matter because I just need to get the heart chakra going and then beam the love down at it, and then I go, it's okay, I'm awesome, I'm created too. Anyway, sorry, love you guys.
Right. So, well, it's past 9 o'clock. I was wondering if anyone had any closing remarks or something they wanted to say before we close.
Holy cow, that was fast.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah.
I posed you a question in there, Andrii.
Oh, okay. Where can Dan and others access that report you generated on shadow work? Okay, you know what? I didn't realize it would be interesting. So here.
Well, he asked specifically about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. So I'm going to post it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Crikey.
Well, we're still here.
Thank you all so much. I really appreciate the love and support I'm getting from you guys. And I put this in my Google Calendar with notifications, so I'll be here more consistent. I hope so. And so, thank you.
We'll be happy to have you.
Friday night men's raw group.
Well, women are accepted too. We had Ashley.
They are. That's just I refer to this as my guy group because it's once you, and I'm sure, Dan, I don't know how long you've been dabbling around in the spiritual communities, but one thing that I noticed immediately going into Law Ones and CE5s and different groups that I've dabbled in is that they're about 80% women. And it's typically not something that guys usually dive into, but then also at the same time, of the guys that are in the group, even fewer of those are actively involved in it, like what we are. There's a very, very small number of very active guys. So when you are interested in things like this and you're kind of I don't know what kind of nerdism puts me in this category, but I like history, I like chemistry, I like religion, I like philosophy. So I guess it's a little bit of all of it. But so whatever the subject drives you to this, it's really nice to have not only a community of people that you can ask questions to and share information with, but people that actually really give a shit and will love you and care about you, and somebody you can. They're actually friends because we become a family.
I always worry that it's me driving all the women away. By the way, just worry.
I don't know. Well, I go to Glad Tidings, well, like a Mennonite thing, and we have just separate, like, all our Sunday school is like there's men only, like there's a men's Sunday school and a women's Sunday school, and we sit on separate sides of church. So for me, it's nothing unusual. And but yeah, I guess maybe the things that we talk about are different amongst men and amongst women, like the things that we find interesting. And so,
Well, and not even that. It's just sometimes the comfortability of being able to know that you're not going to offend a woman by your question, even if it comes out wrong.
mhm,
That sometimes changes whether you ask a question or not.
fair enough. And so, you can get all of our discussions here on onebeing.org, the number one, and then being.org. And then if you just click on the blog, and then you click on Confederation, and then will be our Confederation stuff. And here's the shadow work one. It's the second last post right now. And then you can, if you want, you can save it. And I'm working on updating my website, but these links will still work. So this one is T, lowercase t. That's the ID of the shadow work one.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right then. So if there's no, does any other final remarks before we go? Okay, Ed, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that I think that this the idea of creating a thought form between all of us that could do something, and like a servitor, like some kind of group, kind of kind of magical structure, is something that we should revisit, because it's something they talk about loads. They've given us tons and tons of hints on how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is something that maybe we should attempt to try.
So are you talking about like a topic for next time?
Well, yeah, or just as something maybe we should consider trying to kind of experiment with forming in like a weekly meditation.
So social
we'll
memory.
Try doing different things. Like, has anyone ever done like macabre?
So basically, what you're suggesting is we do what the women do in the women's groups, because the women do this in all these groups that I'm in. The women are in there and they're intermixing with all the men, but those women all talk together in their tiny little groups of women, and they have little witch covens, and they form the little witch covens, and they do things in those witch covens. And so is that what you're suggesting, that we do like a warlock coven?
I wasn't
I don't
suggesting
know.
that, but I fucking love it. Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to say that the Confederation says that in terms of forming a social memory complex, the key thing is worshiping the infinite creator together, or God. So whenever
100%.
you go anywhere and you guys are together worshiping God, you are forming a social memory complex. Like churches that are actually doing what they're supposed to, and any kind of spiritual group such as that.
Where two or more are gathered in my name.
Amen. Amen.
I'd say that we are. Oh, this is, each time
we're doing that here
each time we
too.
talk about something, we're giving a little tiny sermon.
Yeah.
The point is that I think that we need to kind of look at like the bits like when he talks about making the circuit where every person knows their part to play, and then you can create kind of a magical molecule, like where you're actually creating a vibrational structure between the people. Like, and all the way that they talk about thought forms, but they talk about kind of the structures you can make with thought outwardly. There's so much in there. There's these little tiny bits and bobs. Like I said the other week about kind of the sixth density guy that just jumped straight through the Earth quarantine because he did it through some projected shape. These little hints at what we could try to do. It's just a thought. It's just my just saying. I think it's a very very good concept. It was hinted at in that last sentence. I think it's something we could try.
I think Benny had something to say. Benny, did you?
No, I just want to know where you want to go next week. Lincoln Memorial, Jefferson Memorial. I'll be on time. I've been sick today.
I want to go to the top of the Washington Monument.
We could do that, but it'd be too late. But literally, when you walk up, if you take the elevator, you won't see the optical illusion. But if you walk up the stairs, I've done it like at least 20 times.
I've been to
It'll look like
Washington, D.C. 5 times in my life, and every single time I've been to Washington, the Washington Monument's been frickin' closed.
really. I
Every
walked up
time.
all the my grandpa, because he would say I was overweight, would make me walk up those stairs and shit. So
I was there for the George Bush inauguration and the 2004 Bush Cheney re-inauguration. And then we were there at least 3 times for protests. I know that.
Well,
true. I sat next to him at a gala for Adoptions Together, and it's an adoption company. But I got to meet him. I was young, but he was cool. So
And remember, the Washington Monument is a symbol for a transgender phallic.
Well, also, next time we will be doing October 12th, 2024 session, and topics are balancing the fear of conspiracy theories, the source of negative thoughts, the nature of the higher self, martyrdom, service to others, naivety, and wisdom.
And I actually know what, there's a place called Capitol View, right? It's in Kensington, Maryland. So that's probably like, I'd say 10, 11 miles away. But from the highest hill there, you can see the Washington Monument. So the Washington Monument and kind of like all around DC, it could mean that too, in Egyptian stuff, but it's really just the high point to see where you're going if you're going into DC. So you can see it from the GW Bridge where the CIA is, off the George Washington Parkway. You can see it from the Pentagon. You can see it. You can see it all the way from Capitol View. I mean, it really depends how high up you get, because DC is all like swamps. So, well, it was so.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the Freemasons wanted.
Oh, they wanted a swamp, eh? Because they're swamp creatures.
No, they wanted it exactly laid out like it is.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Well, I'll go somewhere.
Actually, that's what I was going to jump in on. To be fair, if you
Uh-huh.
don't mind, have you guys seen the huge Morlock owl thing that is built into the floor plan?
Oh, yeah.
So there's like
there's all kinds of crap
owl
in their
thing
head.
with wings, and then an inverted pentagram, and then it's kind of like an inverted version of the actual pentagon. What other fucking occults? It's like the whole road layout is just full of occult crazy shit.
Have you ever looked at an overhead?
They are awesome.
Did you ever look at an overhead blueprint of the Pentagon? Look where the Pentagon is. You want to see some occult shit.
All right. So I'm going to go, and you guys can continue this conversation after because I have a lot of stuff to do and I have a market tomorrow. Okay, so as I found you, I leave you in the love and light of the one infinite creator. Go forth, therefore, rejoicing in the power and in the peace of the one infinite creator, the one within you, my friends. Adonai Vosparagos.
Adonai.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to light the candles. There's war.